Well, hello there, everyone. Sorry for the slightly delayed start today. I seem to be having, or shall we say my internet connection seems to be having a little bit of a rough time today. But hopefully it will be all right. So, let me know if the audio levels are fine. And we'll get started on the thing. So, the game seems to be building. That's nice. Let's hope that everything is set up. My machine seems to have rebooted itself. Thanks, Windows. Shouldn't really be a problem though. We'll just have to make sure that the asset server is running. And there we go. So let's change the launch settings a little bit to go straight into the level, because I don't want to hang around the main menu much today. There we go. All right. I'm gonna lower my background music volume a little bit here. So, welcome everyone. Today we're going to work more on the radio system that we started last time. So if you weren't here last time, basically I realized that I need a way to essentially communicate with the other people here in the game. Right? So let's say that you drive somewhere with your vehicle here, and you need a way to request help from one of your fellows. I think the nicest way to do that would be to be able to radio contact them somehow and give them sort of a command. Come to me, follow me, stay here, all that kind of stuff. Let's see if we can find my HUD mock-up that I had here somewhere. Work folder root probably. Game UI HUD work. So this one. So you can see that many of these things are actually already in the game. These things aren't, or they sort of are, actually. But this is a mock-up that I made for what this system could actually look like. So you would hit a button, it would open this view, which would list your contacts, right? So you can contact another vehicle, perhaps. Maybe you have a scout vehicle in the area or a truck, and you select one of them, and that would bring you to this second view where you can sort of see that, okay, now we're sort of radioing the other vehicle here, and you can give it any of these commands, right? So pretty simple stuff, but there's actually a lot of complexity, a surprising amount of complexity behind this system. To make it sort of react to the campaign and all of that. Yeah, last time we didn't get very far, other than that, like, just basically realized that I need this kind of system. Since then, I've done actually a hell of a lot of work on just UI input and all of that related stuff. And I can say that if there's some unsung heroes of the game development world, it is the people dealing with UI and input. I I really kind of hate doing that work. Right, let's say we have a vehicle right here. I'm just gonna teleport up here. You have these things appearing on the HUD. Press X to produce a power cell. This is sort of like a power cell dispenser facility. You can get a power cell here. And when you press X, it kind of goes away, and you see that area disabling itself, and then you get a power cell. And then you can create another one. It reappears there, right? That's not very tricky. What if we press X, and then we quickly press vehicle control? So we have this menu here on the right. Activating that should disable the press X to produce a power cell. Basically disabling the on HUD prompts. Not very tricky stuff. However, it can get a lot trickier. Like now we have two of them here, and you can see the icons changing there whenever I switch between like gamepad or not gamepad. And so obviously, like, this vehicle is not inside that area now, so it only gets the one prompt. When you switch to this, you get both of them. This kind of stuff. And again, if you are in another mode, so this mode that, for example, controls the arm here, you should not get any of these prompts. Having this sort of work with essentially all different combinations, it's surprisingly tricky, I will say. And I say that as someone who has like written this complete game engine and the renderer and network layer and physics. Well, I haven't written the physics engine, but I've written the physics layer that sort of interacts with the engine. I still think like just filtering out the correct inputs is actually surprisingly tricky. Anyway, with that small rant out of the way, we now have the beginning of a radio menu here. There's quite a lot of stuff that's still not working, which is of course what we will start tackling today. If you click now the right bumper or the R key on the keyboard, you get this radio menu, and we can move around in the radio menu. It has just 3 essentially hard-coded contacts. There's no mother vehicle here, for example, now, but it still lists these 3 guys. And you can't actually, no matter how much I click it, doesn't actually do anything yet. But that's kind of like the beginning of the whole system. And you can also see that if we play with mouse and keyboard, actually I don't have icons for the inputs to the menu yet on the keyboard. I think I had that as like enter and backspace. So I probably just don't have those icons created. So we'll see. Maybe we'll even do that. But let's play with the gamepad for now, because I have the A and B keys there. Have a quick look at my notes here. Drag them off to the side. Right. So, essentially when we play the game, especially, or in particular, shall I say, in the campaign mode. You have a bunch of vehicles that in the previous stream we decided to call party vehicles. So party vehicles are essentially sort of vehicles that are considered to be the vehicles of the group of people that the player kind of belongs to in the story. And so if we go to the main menu and we load into the game the sort of official way, you can see here that we have the scout and we have the mother vehicle there slowly following the scout vehicle. These vehicles are sort of the party vehicles right now, and they will be in the demo of the game. So there will be other vehicles in this level, but they won't be party vehicles, so you can't conceptually sort of call them. Now if we enable this radio menu, you should only see this mother vehicle here, the scout and gripper. Well, the scout is actually the one that you are right now. And the gripper is not a party vehicle, even though it can actually be found here in the level. So we have two of them, and obviously you can't contact yourself, right? So we need to filter out the current vehicle from the list. Now the way we do that is using a new system that I created called the Radio Manager. Let's see, where's the Radio Manager? Here's the Radio Manager. The Radio Manager has a function called Get Available Contacts. And so you give it your host ID, the player's host ID, and it gives you a callback. Calls you back when it has the available contacts. If we're on the client, then we actually run an RPC to the server to get them. If we're on the server, we can just immediately resolve the available contacts for host, and we call the callback for that. So the server knows what the contacts are, and if indeed there are any. So currently I have just some hard-coded testing data here. This is how we get the current list of the mother, the scout, and the gripper. But basically, I think what we will do here is actually read them from a Nemo global variable. So Nemo, of course, is this mission scripting thing that we've looked at previously. It has something called the campaign state. And here are, well, currently we have just one variable here, current level path. So it's essentially sort of like the map that you are in currently. This gets saved to the save game. So we could have another one here, just sort of comma-separated values of what the different contacts are, for example. Things like that. Yeah, then the mission has a bunch of variables to track the progress of it. But that would be one way to do it. Not sure we need to really change this right now, since we don't even have the different states of the menu they're working. So we can just keep them as this for now. Right. So what we want to have though is some sort of command struct. And I'm thinking I'll actually want to probably have contacts as some sort of struct as well. But for now they're just strings. Let's see, we have a contact list here. You can see it's just an array list of strings. So maybe we would want to have some sort of well, we can just put something in here actually. So we can have pubconst radio contact, right? I typically put a self in all non-trivial structs that I have. Something like that, and then we'll also want to have a radio command. And of course these typoed it. These commands are the one are these sort of I can actually take that away, just upgrade it to affinity 2. Why is it not unpinning it from my taskbar? Oh well, Windows. The commands will be something like move here, follow me, stay put. That kind of stuff. Oh, now it went away. So we have sort of like stage 1 or state 1 and then state 2. You select a contact and you tell them something. And then of course they can respond just like in whatever way the command requires. But basically that would be the idea. Maybe we don't actually need a struct for the command. Maybe we just need an enum. Right? Pubconst radio command equals enum. Let's give it a u32, for example. And we can just put in something here. We can use those move here, follow me, and stay put. So kind of just assuming that these are three ones that kind of should be moved to me. Move here is fine. This is just kind of commands that I assume the player will have use for in solving the different puzzles of the campaign. All right. So maybe we should actually no. I'm gonna reintroduce this. I'm gonna reintroduce that. Comment command type, I guess, something like that. I'm gonna reintroduce this because this will most likely list all of the different commands that the game supports, while the radio command struct can hold more information. It can hold, for example, the type of the command. So it needs to be command type. Just initialized to something. It can have some sort of localized name, right? So that we know what to actually print there in the menu. Maybe we should just actually localized name. Text. Something like that. And these are typically just basic strings. So basically we want this command to own the memory that is occupied by this string here, I think. But yeah, let's keep it out for now. We can just make sure that we get these things actually sort of shown in the menu, and we just hard code the names there in English for now. So what we want to do here is get available contacts. So we want to be able to tell or ask the radio system. Okay, so we're talking with like this mother vehicle here. For example, what are my commands that I could tell it, right? So that we can show those in the menu. So I want to give it a radio contact, and then we want to do something like this, basically get available commands, right? Self host ID. Do we need the host ID here? Maybe. I think we might need to have the host ID here. Then we have like the contact would be a probably a const pointer to a radio contact. And then we'll want to have a callback for those as well. So let's actually put that in. Get contacts callback here, contact list. We want to have a command list. So this contact list should probably actually be a list of these radio contacts, not just strings. So we'll do something like command list of radio commands, and then get command callback would be a delegate with single parameter, which is a pointer to a command list, right? Something like that. And now this is the command type that we can use, or the callback type that we can use when we actually get those. Yeah, something like that. I think should work. And again, if we are on the client, we might have to actually ask the server via an RPC. So that's a little bit hairy currently, but it can't be helped. Of course, for now, we can just actually hard code something in here. I think that should work just fine. So maybe we'll actually do that. Hard-coded command list for testing, or something like whatever. Because sort of like the similar idea that we have here. So we create an arena allocator to hold the list. We need to create the list. The list will be a command list. Then we initialize with the arena allocator. All right, and yeah, the host ID is not used for anything currently. That's fine. And let's do like try list append radio command. What was it? Command type. I think. Yeah, it's command type dot move here. Right? Am I doing this wrong now that I don't get any kind of it's not supposed to be that, it's supposed to be that. Clearly doing something wrong here because I'm not getting any, well, I'm getting errors here. Oh, it's supposed to be dot command type, of course. Of course. All right. So now we can add multiple of these here. Follow me and stay put. Right, this almost becomes sort of like an adventure game dialogue system in the sense that like these are these are essentially your sort of conversation options. And we can have some commands that are like really kind of conversation options in the sense that they're not really commands, they're more like, how are you doing? And then that can be technically a command, but what it actually triggers is some sort of conversation with the other person. So it should be pretty flexible. Right. And of course, we have this defer arena D init here, so that once the callback is over, then it can free the thing. Right. What would be pretty nice though is if we actually just got those as a slice, and not actually a command list like this, right? What if we did it like this instead? So we do something like const radio command, right? How about that? And then here we would just do list.items. Or do we need to somehow dereference that, or no, that works. Yeah, that's actually probably nicer. We should probably do it for the available contacts as well. So the available contacts is, this thing is used here. The callback that it gets is this kind of thing. And we essentially want to just iterate over them. So this should really be a slice too, actually. Oh, does that actually not have to be? That probably actually doesn't have to be dereferenced. It's kind of interesting that it's like, it's either a string or if I add the dereference or the, I don't even know what to call this here. Is this like some sort of mutability hint? Yeah, that almost looks like it's sort of like a double pointer at that point. Hello, Loris and Tutu. Welcome back. But yeah, this should really just be a slice. It's kind of annoying that we're passing in like a const pointer to an array list. And yeah, Ninja Stream indeed. I sort of just have to basically slap on the recording whenever I have time to do this now, because I tend to be so busy with lots of things that when there's a little bit of time to stream, I'll just stream. And then people can always look at the VODs afterwards if they miss a stream. Okay, cool. So this works, right? Yeah, maybe we should actually refactor the contacts a little bit as well. That could be a pretty good idea. Also, it bugs me that the select and back buttons don't do anything. So let's try to make at least the back button just shut it down or close the menu. The menu can currently just be toggled on and off by clicking the same button here. Let's make the B button do something. And yeah, don't worry about those question marks. I just don't have the icons there for the keyboard yet. So, in-game menu logic. This is a horrible mess of if statements that toggle these things on and off. So if we have, let's see. the radio menu is shown. Right, we can do something like this maybe. In-game back input action. In-game menu back, quite simply. So basically if, let's see, if we show the radio, this is actually the, this is the input for actually activating the radio menu while the avatar role menu is not active. Then this is true. Okay, that's fine. So we can do something like, if the radio menu is shown and we have the game input back set, then we quite simply disable it as well. That should handle it. Right, so there's the avatar menu, and it kind of stays on while you actually keep it pressed, because if you have a, let's say, a gripper here that has multiple roles, switch to that, then you can switch between these different modes of controlling the vehicle just by holding it down. Now we can drive it like this. Now if we toggle on the radio, you can toggle it off with the back button as well. Nice. Okay. So that's now handled. It's now handled as well. Yeah, there are so many different freaking layers of disabling and enabling all of these things. It's kind of ridiculous, really. Yeah, the select still doesn't do anything. That's fine. I'm gonna make it happen probably next, actually. So here we have the avatar role menu logic, and then we have the radio menu logic. There are some propagated values here because we need to essentially keep this in sync between the client and the server. And highlighted index is just like the object that we currently have set. Radio menu state is probably the most interesting part currently. So we have select contact and we have select message. Maybe they should actually be called messages, not commands. I like that a lot. Let's make that the thing instead. Radio menu. No, not radio menu, but radio manager. Yeah, so radio message type instead. And then this would be radio message. And I could have used a renaming thingy, but oh well. Yeah. Yeah, we have some case sensitivity to fix here. Something like that, right? Get messages callback, that looks nice. Huh, interesting that this actually jumps to the delegate and not the actual declaration up here. Oh well. Right. Okay. Anyway, the next thing we need to handle is this menu state. So this state, the select contact state, is the one we currently are in whenever the menu is active. If you select one of those contacts from there, it needs to remember that. And then it needs to go into this next stage, which is the select message one. So actually quite a lot of stuff to do when we switch from one to another. Maybe I'll just put in a function here to let's see. You can go basically forward and backward, right? So next state is what I call it, I think. Radio menu state, yes. And then we have previous state. If you selected like the wrong contact, for example, something like that. Next state, what we can actually perhaps simply do here is we do self. Of course, we don't have a self, so let's put in a self here. We do self dot radio menu state set. Let's make this like really basic for the time being. Maybe we can just generalize this later on. But basically we only have two states currently. So if we are in the radio menu state, select contact, then we, did I actually have I think I had a helper method here for this. Select message as int, yeah. I quite often put in an as int there just to make it a little easier. You don't have to do the casting yourself. Right, and this should return it as an i8. So this would be like select message. And this is also, let's put in a to-do here, store the selected contact here, so that we know what was the contact that we selected, right? And essentially, if we do next state while we are in the select message one, then we are essentially sort of dismissing or accepting or whatever we are essentially closing the menu, right? So let's see. We can quite simply do visible set false. We can do radio menu state set, and then radio menu state select contact. So we go back to the previous one, and yeah, select. Now let's do selected contact, selected message. Right. think that makes sense. And similarly here, if we're going to the previous state, if we are in the select message, then we just go back to select contact. Yeah, we do that. We don't set the visibility to false. Back to select contact. That should probably be an else if. And same thing here. We want to close it. Let's put in a close menu function here. So basically when we close it, we just do those two things. Close. And then of course to send the message here. Right, here we just close the thing. And this means that actually what we did previously, we don't necessarily need to do after all. Right, we don't need to do necessarily this thing. Because if we are applying the back input, then the previous state function there will handle that as well. So that's probably better that way. All right. Now, one thing that we'll want to have is here in the radio menu logic, we have a contacts array list here once again, and again we want to change this to the radio contact struct in probably just a second. But we'll also want to have messages. This will be an array list of messages. Should that just be like a bounded array? Or is it a bounded array? These could probably be bounded arrays. Is that nicer? Because we don't have that many of these either way. Would be nice if we didn't have to do any heap allocations. I mean, we kind of still have to do heap allocations because we're dealing with like strings and things here. I'll look at this later. For now I'll keep it as an array list. No biggie. So then we can do basis means radio manager, radio message. Right, and the messages need to initialize as well. And let's actually just shorten this because I'm probably going to be using it quite a bit. Just radio message. Something like that. And then of course we'll need to de-init it here, and probably to do de-init individual messages, because I'm assuming they will have strings localized string identifiers or something like that. So they probably want to deinitialize their memory as well. This contact count is an old thing, we don't need that. We also don't need the active role index that comes from the avatar selection screen. Right. Okay, and now basically we have the logic that handles the moving up and down. So radio menu up, radio menu down. in particular, we have this thing here which compares if the new index is smaller than the contact's length. So we want to do something like this. Let's do const item count. And this is like if self radiologic what's it called, radio menu state is radio menu state dot select contact as int. If that is the case, then what we're looking at is this thing here. Else it's this other thing, this messages items len. Right? That is the thing. Maybe we'll want to have just a function for this here. Let's put in a function to something like pub fn get item count. And that's probably like a usize. Yep, that we can take away. All this radiologic business we can take away. That should work. Radiologic get item count. All right, and now we just want to compare against this instead. Yes. So, in addition to this guy, we'll also want to have the select in-game select input, and then we'll just want to read them here. Yeah, actually we're just reading it straight here, so maybe we don't actually need to have these things at all there. Just take them away and do it the same way here. Yeah, self radiologic next state. And previous state. I think that should handle everything now, as far as like input is concerned. Probably just close. Oh. What was it called? Closed menu is what it's called. And of course, we still haven't done anything about the rendering. The rendering is a whole different kind of worms, to be honest. So let's just do one thing here. We have the HUD radio menu.sig here in the UI side. Let's see. So menu state. We have a goofy property of type I8, HUD radio menu state. So this gives us the state, the currently active state here. And then we see, then we have the rendering here, we render the background, we render the title text, then we figure out some lines. Right, so we're checking here menus. If menu state is select contact, then we draw those. So yeah, it should probably actually just render like a blank screen in the other state. So that's good enough for now. Turn this on. Let's put the console here on the side. Right, so we can navigate up and down. If you select the mother, we go selected contact, and we get it twice because again we get it on the client and the server. And now we can go back and we can close it, and we can select this and we can close it. And we selected the message even though there's technically sort of no message there to even select. Well, that's pretty nice. We now have the kind of the menu logic there. One thing that we want to actually fix is that if I select like this third one here, you can see that the selection stays there on the bottom. First of all, if we don't have anything to select, then it really shouldn't show the selection at all, of course, but it should always jump to the top one when we're entering a new state. So let's make that happen as well. And we can go here to probably previous state, the next state, and just fix them there. In-game menu logic is the one. Radio menu state. Highlighted index, just set that to 0 in both cases. Right, so now we just jump back to the top one every time. And we can still like exit out of the thing even from this other state if we just click the radio menu button, which is nice. Or we can go back by clicking the back button. Yeah. Okay, nice. That is nice. Right, so this is the in-game menu logic, and this thing gets the radio contacts set on itself using this set radio contacts method, which is fired from the vehicle avatar on available radio contacts received. Right. I wonder if we should go through this this component to get the list of available commands. When we select one of those contacts, we want the list to populate with the commands or messages, I should say, that we can send to that command, to that contact. If that makes sense. And here we do the first step, get available contacts. That's on the server, we do the same on the client here. Have to be done in slightly different ways. So I'm thinking that this vehicle avatar component would get some sort of signal when we've actually selected one of those contacts. Actually, no, let's not do it that way. Let's do it in a completely different way, actually. Let's bake those commands into the contact, because then we can do it with just this one RPC. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm so smart. I I really am not. But anyway, this way we get the whole thing here. So currently we get an array list of strings, which is like bad in many ways. We should get a slice of contacts, and the contacts should have baked into them a list of messages that we can send to the contact. Yeah, that is how we want to do it. That will be really a good thing indeed. So there's a little bit of re-fungineering to do here. I'm gonna get myself a little water. Right. So the way this is going to work is probably that this radio message type is probably going to go away. I keep changing my mind about this thing. That also means that we don't really need this guy. And comment that out. Instead, this radio contact will get a bunch of new things assigned to it. First of all, it will get a name. Let's just call it name for now. And it is a string, and we will just hardcode something there, as we did previously. It will also have a... should we do like a bounded array of radio message types? So essentially messages that we can send to this radio contact. Messages std bounded array of radio message type 8. Something like that. I think 8 is probably too many either way, but the menu sort of visually can currently hold 8. So let's go with 8. Now we can probably const max message count. Just define it here so that if we need to, we can query it later. From there. And I wonder if this would need some kind of ID that the server assigns. Yeah, I think it probably needs some kind of ID. It will probably just be generated on the fly. So like an unsigned 32-bit integer or something like that. Like, because we're actually talking to other game objects here. We're talking to other vehicles. And they have their path. The paths can be stable or they can be just random generated. This is called player 0. If we spawn in a test vehicle, it's called spawned ogsm. And if we spawn another one, it's called spawned UO1D. Generated paths. And if we have something placed in the level, then they're probably something more complicated. And we're actually sort of talking to those objects, but we don't want to show their path, obviously. Instead, we want them to have some sort of nice name that we can show there in the menu. I'm thinking that the server radio manager will sort of figure out what vehicles there are in the level and create an ID for all of them. And just identify it with this here. And then the client receives like a list of these guys, radio contacts. It just knows that they have an ID, and then they have a name, and they have some messages that can be sent to them. And then later on it will just go like, okay, so we sent message follow me to the thing with ID 2, for example. That goes back to the server. The server then sort of figures out, okay, which game object had the ID 2 again, etc. I think that's probably fine. So we want to have an init function because we now have like strings and things that we want to figure out. So allocator. We want to return a self. Name is basis string init with the allocator. That's not how you do it. Yeah, that's not how we do it at all. Return self, like so, and then ID is like, I don't know, 0. Name is spaces string init allocator. I don't know why it doesn't want to show that to me. Oh, it's because I don't have the FN here. There we go. Messages is, let's just put in a, it doesn't need to be public, I guess, const message list. Something like that. And then we can use message list. Yeah, the annoying thing here is that init actually like throws errors, even if you just want to set the length to 0. How did this work? You can actually initialize one of these without having to like throw errors there. It's sort of silly that you have to do it because you just want to like initialize it to an empty list. And that's like, what? Why? Why? Right, so len is 0. Actually, it is initialized to 0. So we probably don't even need to do anything. You can just do like that, right? Oh, we need a semicolon over there. Yeah, terminate task. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so we need to get rid of that array list here. Messages. No longer have that. But instead, what we have is we have a list of contacts. They're currently basis strings. They will be switched over to being actual contacts in a second. We want to have like a selected contact index, right? It can be a U size. You can initialize it to 0. Right. So that means that when we actually, let's see, when we select the contact, store the selected contact here. We can do this immediately. We can do self highlighted index get, and then we want to reset it to 0 after we actually do that. Right, selected contact index is the thing, and now if we go to here, we have basically like self.contacts items. We have self.selected item contact, blah, blah, blah. Now this thing actually can't return anything sensible currently because we're still talking about strings here. These all come from the string class, a string type. So we want to do something a little different. We want to essentially, let's pretend that we have the, where's the radio manager? There we go. We have the radio contact, so it has messages. And what does message, what is the, is it size or what is it? What is the thing? Oh, it's slice, right? Slice gives you the, view the internal areas. The slicer's size was previously set. Yeah. All right. Yeah, self.len. Actually, self.len is the thing that we want. Yeah, self.len. Good. So messages.len. Right, so this won't work. This won't compile currently, but it will just in a second. Something like that, right? If we're selecting contact, then that is what we want. And if we're selecting the messages, we get the highlighted or previously selected contact. We get the message length out of that to get the item count. Yeah, that should be fine. That should be fine. Cool. Okay, and now then, something like that. The name sort of doesn't really ever change. So once we've actually received those from the server, we shouldn't need to really sort of deal with the name at all. We can just read it, and that will be that. And that looks nice. So what we can do here to at least make this build now is change this in-game menu logic, the radio menu logic part, to actually accept a list of those contacts instead of strings. So let's, instead of shortening the radio message, we're gonna shorten the radio contact. That would be means radio manager, radio contact. And it will be just the same, but that way instead. We are already deinitializing those items because they used to be strings, and you need to deinitialize them that way. So that's fine. Right. Here's a little bit of cleanup to be done. So I want this to take set radio contacts This should just take a const slice of radio contact void. Burp. That way. Whoop. Right. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe we can add another initializing here. Init copy. We give it an allocator, like we did previously. Then we have another radio contact. Oh, not void actually, self, obviously. Oh, this is... No, that actually works. This will probably throw an error if it doesn't work. So what we want to have here is like name is let's see, allocator basis string init with contents. We give it the allocator. We take the contents from the other name stir like that, and then we return a self, and that is something that we need to try, right? Yeah, we need to try to do that. Then we can return self. ID is other.id. Name is just name, and I think messages is just simply other.messages. That should work. The bounded array. That should be fine. So then we can do contact equals radio contact init copy. Allocator is probably self.context.allocator, and the other is like e. Might have to I guess. Oh, that should actually work. I think that should work. I'll just do some catch unreachables here because I'm lazy. Right. Okay. What is it? This is a U size. This is probably an assigned integer for some reason. We need to just int cast this thing here, and this won't build because we're calling that function that we just we're calling this with the wrong kind of thing now, right? But this will actually build. Okay. Right, and this thing, this unavailable radio contacts received, this is now actually called from the radio manager. Get available contacts right here. So if we're on the client, what we do is we request the list of contacts from the server. We add our request and the callback that we want to be called to a list of ongoing contact requests. And then when the answer is received, which is here, so this is an RPC, remote procedure call. This gets called on the client when the server has the list of contacts. Then we find the ongoing request, get the callback out of there, and then we call the contacts. All of this is basically fine, except we're dealing with the wrong type of object here. This is string. And there's actually quite a bit of work here to actually fix all of this up, because this is an RPC, as I mentioned previously, and RPCs are still a little tricky to use in basis with Zig. They're actually super easy to use in C++. Not really in Zig yet. They're kind of rarely used in gameplay code, to be honest, but occasionally you have to use them. This radio thing is one such area, because it's sort of things that are initialized by the client. You don't technically need to do that with an RPC. You can do it with propagated values as well, but it's a little tricky when it's like the client initiating the communication. So RPCs are easier, but they're still not super easy to actually do from Zig, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to fix this. But that's fine, we can do that. Get available contacts. Let's just change this to be a contact list. Contact list is an array list of radio contacts, right? Instead of string. That would be that. We can take some of this commented stuff out. Resolve available contacts for host. Right, so here is where we can come up with the bogus contacts for now, just like we did previously. And this should work basically the same as it did previously, to be honest. The only thing we need to change is the way we actually append these things. So we do like contact is radio contact init allocator and yeah, this just initializes the string, right? Yes. So here we can now do contact name set mother. Let's make this slightly different than it was previously to make sure that we actually get the correct things set on the contact. And is I don't know, 1, and then contact dot messages. So let's have let's see, let's add 1 assume capacity. No, add append assume capacity. That's what we want to do, and we'll quickly quite simply say follow me. Follow me is the message that we can send to the mother, right? That should be fine. And then try list.append contact. So that's 1. These guys are not valid anymore. Take those out, and we'll add a couple more. Scout vehicle ID 2. Scout vehicle, we get follow me and move here. And then we do one more still. Gripper. And it gets all of them. Something like that. And this is now where this is the function where the server, this always runs on the server, by the way. You can just put in like a basis assert, do s assert, so we get the source location, self on client, not on client. This always runs on the server. This is where we would look at probably the database, the Nemo database, figure out what are all the party vehicles right now, then figure out what those actually the names of those in the scene. Then based on this host ID, we get the avatar for the player that is actually requesting that, and we're filtering out their own vehicle, and then we're pushing them here to this list. So that's nice. That way we get the whole thing. So this should now essentially work already on the server, because we don't have the RPC crap that we're going through here. Yep. That looks good. Yeah, so the RPC still gives the context like this. That's not nice. So what we can instead do is have it use a slice of radio contacts. And you can see that this is assumed to always run on the client, so it's called by the server. Server reports the available contacts and sends them to the client. And what was this thing? Contact list. Yeah, we don't need this to be really. This should be a contact list, right? This is where we want to use an array list. But get contacts callback. This thing should probably actually use a slice. Yeah. So we want this guy here to not actually look like this, but instead look like const radio contact, but we don't actually have it. We need to go means radio manager, radio contact. Right. And then this would not be e.str, be e.name.str. All right. I think. Yeah. Name. Yes, we need to pass the name here to the message that is used to initialize the HUD, so that we get those things on the screen. Basically like that. And now we should actually be able to set this here, because we already changed that to be a radio contact. So that is now hooked up. And all of these places where we actually call get available contacts and it uses a get contacts callback, we need to change this to a slice of those guys as well. Yep. So it will be const contact list. Like so. It won't build, but let's see where we get the next problem. So now we are deep in the RPC and RPC land. This is the code that I would normally generate. You can see here, this file is not yet generated by the basis IDL compiler, but that's the idea. So currently I write these things for by hand, deserializing and serializing the things that go into RPCs. So in C++ and C# and well, basically those two other languages that Basis supports, on the RPC front, all of this stuff is generated for us, and that would be nice to have here as well, but it's not yet. So we need to fix that up. Let's just make sure that that is the only place we need to fix up for now. Yeah, this gives us a list. I think what we actually want here is probably like items, like so. There's an array list of the things, and we want the slice, so we just want the items, which is a slice. That's nice. We have callback.call here as well, and this is now given to us as a slice, or it's assumed to be given to us as a slice from the RPC system. So this should work, but this thing of course doesn't really work because we're passing it here as a pointer to an array list. Okay. Okay. So let's have a look at the RPC stuff. Go here to means RPC. You can see a bunch of CPP and .h files. And you might be wondering, well, what is up with that? And that's because the stuff is generated based on this IDL format, interface definition language, which is kind of modeled after C++. It has some special syntax that's not standard C++. For example, if you want an RPC to have sort of a return value, you can just write like out, and now that thing is a return value. But basically what we want to do here is model this as closely as possible to what we actually would want to generate in Zig. So that at some point when I don't need that. At some point when I add support for actually generating Zig, in addition to C++ and C#, I can just use these same files. So we don't have strings anymore. We don't pass a vector of strings. We pass a vector of radio contacts. And now if we run generate radio manager, I can move this to the side here. I can show you what the generated stuff here has changed. So this changed from a basis string to a radio contacts. Here we're just on the C++ side, we would just use contacts, so we would just do a message put contacts into it, and that would be it. That's sort of like the sending side. And we have the receiving side, looks like this, where it sort of unpacks these things. We have a host ID, a vector of strings, and we just get them out. And now that has changed to a radio contacts. And then we call the actual receiving function. So the change is kind of small in this case, but of course that stuff only works if radio contact is a serializable object. So in C++ land, that would be like deriving from serializable and overriding some methods to make it automatically figure it out. We can't actually do that here. We have to be a little more manual currently with this, but it shouldn't be super tricky to do. So here we have the stub, and here on the other side we have the proxy. Proxy is the one that sends stuff, and stub is the one that receives stuff. So let's see if we can actually figure this out immediately. I do not know that we need the means namespace here now, because the contact is no longer a const slice of u8, i.e. a string. It is now a const slice of, let's enable Zen mode to get a little bit more space here. This will now be a const slice of means.radiomanager.radioContact. Then we have some boilerplate stuff. We create a message, binary write stream. We put the type of message. This is an RPC. We put the RPC channel and RPC function ID. This is all generated stuff that I've sort of copy-pasted from the C++ side. Then we actually start putting in the actual parameters here. So we have host ID that's put in as just an int32, and then this is the stuff that we need to change. So the first thing that we want to do is send the length. This is all same as previously. So whenever you have a vector of something, typically what I do and what my templated vector serializing functions on the C++ side do is send the length as an unsigned uint32. So let's do that as well. Because this is a slice of something, we need to prepend the message by telling the system how many to expect. And now then, we have contacts, do just 0. So we have an ID, we have name, and we have messages. So ID is pretty simple. It is an unsigned 32, right? I'm just going to copy paste these guys here to put them into comments so that I know what we're dealing with. Right, so we have an unsigned integer, another one. That's easy. We can do message dot put int u32, and this would be, let's actually see, I need to do something like this for contacts element element.id. So that's easy. And it's also easy to get out. Then we have a string. And here's a helper function that we can call called putString, and we can do e.name. And I think, yeah, that probably is actually what it expects. No, it's not. It wants a, yeah, it wants the actual byte slice out of that. So str is what we want here. Yep. And then, now this is interesting as well. This put string is obviously variable length, but it handles this length thing internally here. Now we have this slice of something, slice of, what was it? Message types. So we have e.messages. We have a slice here, right? So let's store that message slice. And again, we want to probably don't need to do that actually. We can just paste that directly in there. Like that's probably an U size. And we can do the same thing here. We just do message slice.len. And then for message slice, we get the message out of there. So message is an enum. Radio manager is right here. Let's see. Message is an enum. What did we make the underlying type? Yeah, it's an uint32, so that's fine. We can put it as a uint32 here. I want to do like int from enum, probably m. Yeah, m. That should be fine. Yep, you have the receiving side still causing us issues. Either type. I don't know what that means. But yeah, this should be now sort of like hand-rolled serialization function for a radio contact. And of course we could add this logic to the radio contact class itself, so we would have like a serialize and deserialize function, which would make this easier. And maybe that is what we should do eventually. Let's toggle off the Zen mode. Let's see, I think I had something called try deserialize. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that looks actually kind of nice. So we could add a try deserialize, and we could add a serialize here, and this is of course what we would have, where we would have put that code that we wrote a second ago. So let's do that. Serialize self stream basis binary write stream. And then we take this stuff let's see, that is the thing that we actually want to put in there, right? That thing. So message becomes self here. No, sorry, that's not what we want. Stream becomes, message becomes stream, and E becomes self. Like so. And now we can just take that away and instead do e.serialize message, like that. And I guess that needs to be like the address of it. Yep, that's good. And then we have the stub, and that's the receiving end. So let's copy this try deserialize into this radio contact. Comment out this old stuff. And we can quite simply, we can fix up this RPC stub here, and then the last thing we need to do is actually then implement that try deserialize. So what do we have? Well, we put the host ID, so we're getting it out like this. Then we do need actually like an array list here. This is completely correct, but the type is wrong. So it needs to be radio manager.radio contact. Then we want to get out contact count, and it's supposed to be an unsigned integer. We do 0 to contact count. Or actually, we probably don't even need this payload here, so let's just ignore it. And we want to do try. No, actually, wait a minute. What we want to do here is we want to push them to that list. Yes, that is what we want to do. So let's do var contact is means radio manager radio contact init self.allocator, and then we want to do contact try deserialize address of message, and we want to actually try that. And then we want to try list, actually it's called contacts append contact. Like that, and then finally we want to call items on that, and that should be fine. And then when we actually pass them along, then we need to deinitialize the whole thing. Yes. And what we could do here is actually be a little nicer about this and do, let's see, arena is self. No, it's what is it? std heap arena allocator init self allocator, and then just use arena.allocator for all of these. And then we can do arena. Actually, we can do a defer. Why not? Defer arena dinit. So we're using an arena here for the list of radio contacts, as well as the contacts themselves, and then we just deinitialize everything in one go. That's kind of nice. Yep, that should work. That should work, that should work. We still have the deserialize function to actually figure out, but well, that should be okay. All right, so what do we have? What is this? This get contacts callback. Why do you go to the delegate when I want you to go here? So this expects a contact list, yeah. That looks all right. Oh, not right. It's not actually we have a slice of contact lists. That's not what we want. We want a slice of radio contacts. Like that. That should be better. Yep. That looks better. Cannot assign to constant. Yeah, that's true. make that those var instead. All right. No field member named str in radio contact. That's true as well. We need the name.str. And what do we have here then? Slices. Oh, right. Right, so this is the radio manager. We actually don't want this now to be... Yeah, there's many things that are problematic here. So this just expects a slice of those radio contacts. We can just completely get rid of all of that and quite simply do list.items, I think. Okay, and what do we have here then? Right, that's just a slice now. Probably something like that. No member name items in, yeah, same thing, same problem. So if this now builds, it still won't work because we haven't done that, yeah, that deserialization function. So this, believe it or not, this becomes much nicer once we have all of this done. I know it's a little, it feels a little rambly, it feels a little just me jumping all over the place. But radio manager, but this just becomes much more straightforward when you get this refactoring done. And we should be almost there. Get available messages we can just completely remove and leave those there if we need updating. So try deserialize. Basically we want to do this but in reverse. So how do we do that but in reverse? Should be pretty straightforward. So so first of all we get the let's see, we do self.id equals stream get int, that's an unsigned integer 32. Then we do self dot actually let's see, stream dot get get bool, get float, get int. How was the string actually read? Read. Yeah, I don't remember how the string was actually read. Let's see the old. Deserialize string array list. Huh. Right, so we have deserialize string. Deserialize a string. This is not called getString. To make it clear, you need to provide a fully initialized string. The stream is not going to construct one for you. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that is the thing. But we are very much fully initialized here, so we can do stream.deserialize string and give it the address of self.name. That's fine. And then we have almost everything. We just need those messages. So we do const message. Let's see. Slice. Yeah. MSG count. Stream get int, and it's another u32. And then we just do from 0 to message count. Again, I don't think we need the payload. And we want const. And the message is also the uint32. And then we can do self messages, append, assume capacity, and I think that's like enum from int, right? MSG, something like that. That's supposed to be a big F. And here we want to self.messages len. We just want to zero that before actually appending anything. And this you just write it and add one assume capacity. Yeah, this bumps up the length. I don't know if that is the most optimized, most efficient way of actually appending to a bounded array like that, but it works. Okay, let's try to run this and see what happens. Hey, we have mother vehicle, scout vehicle, gripper vehicle. It actually does seem to work after all that refactoring and messing around. So if we select mother, we still don't get anything here. But now we should actually be able to quite easily show the number of things. Actually, we can see that select mother, I can't go up and down. If I go back and select scout, I can go down 1. And if I select gripper, I can go down 2. That's already very encouraging, because if we go to radio manager, you can see that the mother has 1 message, the scout has 2, and the gripper has 3. So the data is clearly coming through, we're just not showing it yet. So cool. How should we send that to the UI though? The way we do it currently is with a message. If I can find it. Here, unavailable radio contacts received. So we get a bunch of contacts, and we basically encapsulate here as a message parameter how many we had, and then we just add their strings, their names as strings. And then we send this init radio menu contacts message, which if we look for it, we can find it here. And it quite simply adds those contacts there. But these are again now strings, so it only knows the names of those contacts. Yeah. That's fine. We do, however, need to actually send over those supported message types as well, if we want them to be visible there in the HUD. So should we just push those as parameters as well? So what we could do here is we could, after this message parameter specifying the name, we could do something like message params add uint p dot messages dot length, right? That's probably a U size, I guess. Int fitting range, yeah. Maybe it's not actually U size, but whatever. We can int cast it. Int cast. Like this. And then we would, like in a for loop, we would pass those messages. Does that make sense? The thing is though that message parameters are sort of, this is a super old system. Value buffer size, yeah, you can only have 8 sort of integers, 8 unsigned integers, 8 blah 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 other types per message. It's a bit crappy, I know, but that is how it's worked for quite some time. Not gonna change it for this. So how should we actually send those? We could send it as a string, I guess. Encoded into a string. That makes sense. It's a little stupid. If we add a string, does it actually copy the memory? Yeah, it does a string copy. Okay. Right, so if we had like message number, I don't know, 3 and 2, then we would actually sort of send it as like 3, 2, something like that, as a string. That could work. That could work, that could work. Yeah, does Zig have any handy split string or concatenate string functions? Probably not, right? What about the string library that I'm using? It's actually not that one, it's this one, Zig string. Does this deal with splitting and concatenating? It deals with concatenating, but it concatenates strings. Splits a string into a slice based on a delimiter and an index. Is there any test for this? Splits a string into a new string based on delimiters and index. Yeah. Another way that we could handle this is by using a bit field. Right? If instead of what's the radio manager? Radio manager. Right, instead of having this be this, have like 1, 2, 4, and then it will be like 8 and 16, etc. That could be a thing to look at. Do I do any bit manipulation here? I think I do. Yeah. Yep. Is that like actually the thing? Yeah, it clearly is. So we could have like a flags that is initialized to 0, or it would be messages. And then we just or those together to get like the the appropriate set of supported messages out of it. That would give us 32 different message types. Yeah. That could work. Or if we use a U in 64, then we would have 64 of those. That could also work. Decisions. Oh yeah, that's probably the nicest way to do that. So let's do it. Let's do it like that. So radio message type, we'll put this in as quite simply a uint64. And if we have it as a bit field, then I guess we should have like a non-radio message type there. Actually, probably don't need that, now that I think about it. Because we never have a case where we have like no messages supported. In that case, we just shouldn't have a radio contact that has no messages supported. In this case, we have a none here because you might have a SIG component that has none of these flags set. But the radio message type should always be set in one way or another. So here we just want to deserialize this as a 64-bit integer, and same thing here. We actually want a 64-bit serialization. All right. I mean, I think we had like maximum set to 8, but of course we don't need to necessarily have the 8 first ones. So it's still a pretty good idea to have this as a uint64, because it might have like numbers 1, 2, and then 35, and then 56, something like that. So we can still go outside of that U32 range. Yeah. Yeah, that should be fine. Just making sure we have those cases. That's a length, that can be a U32. And that's the actual message type, that's U64. Okay. Right. So now then, we should do something like this. We should probably have the asInt function there. Make it a little easier to work with. Just have one of these and 64. Like that. And then we can OR them together like that. That'll be fine. So here in the vehicle avatar component, we don't actually need to send the length now, because we will just send one uint64. So messages would be u64 equals 0, right? Right, and then we want to iterate over. So for e dot messages dot what is it? Slice? Yes, slice, and we have the element. So this would be message int u64 equals int from enum or actually we just put in like the asInt thing there, so we can do messages or equals e dot asInt, whatever it was called. What is that? Capture E, shadows capture from outer scope. Oh. Alright, that's also an E. Let's make that an M. M dot asInt. Let's keep those separated. And then of course we need to push it here. Add uint64 messages. Yeah. Yep. That looks good. And then we need to do the opposite thing on the other side, right? So here, let's see, add contact. And I think what we will do here is we will add, let's see, how should we handle this? Should we just, I think the way I want to handle this is create a small helper structure myself here. Do contact. And the contact will have max contact count. Right, so it will have a name, basis string, messages u64. And then when we render this, we can actually sort of figure out, okay, which one of these messages are actually enabled right now. Does that make sense? The thing is, though, that actually makes this a little tricky, is that we sort of lose the order here. we kind of lose the order here, right? Because like this thing, we have a list of messages like this, and here we have just one value. And this value can now encode which one of these messages are actually in that messages slice there. But it doesn't actually keep the order of that. Yeah, so that's actually a little tricky. Because the actual logic, this radio logic here, which captures the input and all of that, acts on these messages. It will use this contacts slice that it got. Comes in here. Yeah. And every contact here has just this message list. Yeah, that's a little annoying actually. Maybe we should revisit that string idea that I had. Actually, let's try something like this. Let's go back here to the radio manager. Yeah, that's good. Unit 64 business goes away. Yeah. So let's keep them like this as a U32. And then oh, we have the same file open here. I was confused. Right, like this thing here. String init self context allocator. Find. Right, I can't like format. I can't add by formatting. So basically, I would need to buff print, let's see. Yeah, I need to think about this a little bit more, but in the meantime, let's just actually encode this into like a string so that we can get on with our lives. So stdfmt, this has like a some handy format float. Let's see, I'm probably using it somewhere to do something similar. Alloc print. Yeah. Yeah, we can do something a little similar to this. So we do like a temp buffer. Doesn't need to be 100. We can keep it at 32, for example, and we just keep temp buffer like this. And what we actually add here is the message. So that would be m. M is the actual m as int probably, or int from enum. Message like that. And then this is the value in string form. So like str value. Something like that. Temp string. What's it called? It's something like fixed buffer allocator. Yes. Yeah, let's use this instead. We can use the same allocator for everything. So here we can probably do something like, yeah, string buffer, that's fine. Let's use 128. And this would be then alloc print and allocator. Yeah, not sure if there's actually a simpler way to convert strings or numbers into strings in Zig. Maybe there is, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so alloc print, and we want temp string would be a basis string. Oh, we don't need that lowercase there. We can just do basis string and init allocator. Right. This just returns like a, yeah. So actually, I kind of prefer to do it like this. What did I do? Like so. And we don't want to slice that at all. Take that away. Consider using const. Yeah, well, I will append things to it right here. Buffer size, so what was it, like insert? Or was it concat? Concat is the thing that we want. So we want to concat this here. And then we also want to concat a comma to it like this. Yeah. And then we can do message params. Add string, temp string. Yeah, quite a bit of string manipulation today. Perhaps not the nicest way of doing this. But yeah, we have a buffer of 128 bytes. And we create an allocator out of that. Then we have a temp string, which we initialize it with. And then we string some values together, pun intended. And finally we add it there. That should work. And then if we go here, we can print this stuff that we actually receive. So it's here, contact, and this would now be messages. So let's do a basis print f name. That would be something, and then the messages is something else. Make sure that we actually get all of that true to the other side. Error is ignored. Yeah. All right. Let's see what we have. Oh, we actually got them already. Right, so mother vehicle messages 1, scout vehicle 1 and 0, gripper vehicle 1, 2, and 0. That sounds pretty good. Sounds basically like what we want. Here's the radio manager. That's 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, 0. Yeah. Yep. So now we have the order. Now we have the order sort of figured out. Hello, Łukasz. Welcome back. You're a bit late, but that doesn't really matter. I've been doing just a bunch of UI programming today. Nothing really super exciting. Trying to figure out how to pass data from one part of the program to another. So nothing super interesting, perhaps. But I think we're nearing something kind of interesting. Right, so now we have those values there. We still need to print them to the menu. And of course we don't have any string representation for them, so we probably just need to hardcode something in for the time being. But what happens if we now do one of those splits? So let's go to what was it? Here, add contact, and we'll want to split. So messages, that's also currently a string. Bring that in there. And just do this. And then basically we want to, that was the Uint64 business that we had previously, but that's not what I actually ideally want. Ideally I would like to have, let's see, it would be messages, std bounded array of means radio manager, radio message type. Let's make that 8. And then the contacts can be just these guys instead, right? So we just need to change some of these things to reference the name instead of the contact itself. Name, and here we have the name. Not that way around. Name and dot name. That's it. Right. So now every contact has a name and maximum 8 messages. And that's fine. I do wonder if we need to actually initialize that. Probably not, but maybe it doesn't hurt. Set that to 0. And here in add contacts, now we need to split that up and then just assign them. Right. So let's see. Messages. Right, okay, yeah. That is of course a slice, and we want to maybe we will want to create an arena. Arena allocator init with allocator. Like so, something like that. And then we can do defer arena.dinit. Also working in UI, but in my own work. Yeah, I I feel your pain. Bear in mind, I'm assuming you're feeling pain because I'm feeling pain. I kind of hate this crap doing UI work. To be honest, but hey, it's necessary to make good games. Yeah, the UI programmers are the unsung heroes of the games industry, in my opinion. Right, what was I doing? I was thinking of creating a temp string here. And we initialize it with the arena allocator, which means that we actually can get rid of that row completely. And then we do temp string set messages. I'm just going to catch unreachable here because it can't be ours to do anything else. And then temp string split, right? Split, and we split on comma. I don't know what that index is, but let's make it 0. Oh, you're doing automotive stuff. That's cool. That's nice. Right, so we get like an optional thing of parts. So if parts P, I guess, and then for P, I don't know, parts maybe and then this would be parts. And then for parts, we have part, which is something, right? So base is printf, and then part is something. Let's see what we get out of that. Invalid format S for type U8. Oh. Right. Huh. Yes, it actually doesn't give you into a slice based on delimiter and an index. Does the string not have any tests actually? Are they like in a separate file somewhere? Tests, there we go. Let's bring this over and split. Okay, yeah, so it splits it into sort of right, you tell it basically which one you want. Okay. And that could be really handy, but that's not really what I need. Split to string. New split. Right, okay, that creates a new string. Yeah, right. Variable. Okay. All right. Yeah, we can't print that because that's just a single one. Yes, so it gives you essentially one string out, and yeah. So that's not exactly what I need, but I could at least, I could always split it on the on comma and get the 0th part out. That would give me like the first. That would give me the first message in there, right? And then based on that, I can essentially cut off that part of the string, right? Substr. Let's see, it creates a string from a given range. Choose responsible for managing the new string. So we have the self, we have start, and we have end. Okay. I do wonder though, did I not actually... Did I not actually have some sort of splitting functionality already in place here? UI utils. Yeah, no. That's not what I need. Right, removes a range of characters from the string. You start and end, yeah. And we could use that to actually remove the first one. Yeah, that could work. Maybe we'll try to doing something like that. I'm not super excited about this. Feels kind of annoying really to be doing this, but oh well. Because my message passing is so simple, I have to resort to something like this currently, at least. So let's do something while So basically, I want to get out. This is like the first part. First part, maybe it's an optional thing. And if we have a first part, maybe then we get the first part. Or do we want to? Can I do something like this? Can I do something like like this, right? This, and then sort of get the part out of there. Does this work? Does anyone know? Because then what we could do is we could do like a so we have part.len, right? Yes. So then we could do temp string dot remove from start to part.len +1, right? Because we want to remove the what's it called? The comma as well. And this would give us basis printf. This would give us part, and then like this. Does that work? Not sure. Error is ignored. Well, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, I'm just about done with this. I don't care about errors right now. I just want to see if this actually works. Expected double struct found something else. Right, okay. This thing. Okay, clearly doesn't work. Let's see what the error is. Integer overflow. Part 1, thread panic. Huh. Why is it overflowing though? Let's print the string after we've removed. After removing, we'll do temp string str. And then we can put a breakpoint there. Put a breakpoint before the while loop. Oh, it's still running probably. Yeah. Or is the problem just that? Right, so now we got the part out of there. Part 1, that looks good. After removing, it's probably empty, right? After removing, yeah, it's nothing. So is it actually just panicking? Is there a bug basically in this? in this split function that like if temp string size equals 0, then we need to break. I bet there is something like that. And then we still need to figure out how to go from string to integer. I'm not sure I've ever done that with Zig, so we need to figure out how to do that. All right, that's good. So 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, 0. Yes, and then after removing it's empty. Okay, so that now does what we actually want. Okay, well that wasn't too terrible, actually. So let's write a comment here. Unpack the string of message type in the form 1, 2, 4, 3 into individual message types. Quick googling Zing string to int. Standard format parse int. Oh, that looks handy. So the int type we want to have is message type, be stdfnt parse int u32. The buffer is part, and base is 10. Right. I need to try this as well. Yeah, this is annoying that I need to just do that catch unreachable everywhere, so maybe we'll do this a bit nicer. Actually make this throw errors and then do catch error fatal error with name, source location, and then error, like so. Oh, and there needs to be a semicolon after that. So now we can instead just do try everywhere. Feels a little less dirty. That would be a try. Try. Message type is that. Good. So G contact count dot messages length equals 0. And here we can now then do, let's call that message type int, because we want to cast it to the message type. So and that is of course of type means radio manager, radio message type, enum from int. Lots of casting. Arguably not that nice, but whatever. What can you do? Messages append message type. All right, now that is hopefully the end of this part. So now we should have a nice message array which we can print to the screen, similarly to how we do it. Where was the thing? Draw text with shadow here. So if menu state is select message, we have the contact is g contacts, and that's probably, oh, that's actually just a raw array. Yeah, contact count. No, actually no, it's not. It's the selected item, and the selected item is found. Highlighted index is the thing that we want. Yes. So we do for contact dot messages. Is it buffer maybe? No, it's not buffer. It's slice. Slice is what we want. Slice. And m message. And I guess we can just actually see, do we need the I for something? Yeah, we probably kind of need the I as well. So we're gonna have to do 0 period 0 dot dot, and then we do this thing similarly to what we did before. The text is supposed to be I don't even know. Let's see. Right, so here we need to get like a localized localized string, right? But instead what we will do is something like text equals that, and we set it there. And let's use the block syntax. What was the block syntax like? BLK colon. Oh, actually, I don't need the block syntax. I can just return from a switch statement, right? Switch. Oh. M. Case. Dot. No. Let's see. Means dot radio manager, radio message type. Move here. Move here, right? Unknown. Right? Is that the syntax first of all? Int cast. Why can't you actually just do that yourself? Sig. Feels kind of silly to have to intcast just to be able to index into something. Maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. Right. Yeah, we're gonna have to come up with a way to get these sort of nicely localized and everything. But for now, let's do this. Follow me and stay put. And actually, what I think I want these actually sort of quoted. So let's do this. That's how I had it in my mockup. Unreachable else prong. No. So it complains if you don't have the else there, but if you handle all the other cases, it complains if you have the else there. All right. Make up your mind. Right. Radio menu. Do scout vehicle. Follow me. Hey, that's nice. Mother vehicle. Follow me. Oh. Right. They all have just follow me. That's not nice. That's not good. So I think the problem is that this contact, this is not, the highlighted index is not actually the right one. The highlighted index is the highlighted index in the menu, or the what's it called? In the menu, in the current view. But that's not actually what we want. What we want is the selected contact index. The selected contact index is something that we could store in a goofy property, because this is all just client-side stuff. It's just UI. The server doesn't really need to know any of this. Selected contact index is set here. It's just quite simply a member. Get item count. Yeah. But if we, at this point, just write that property, then that should be fine. So let's just do that. That shouldn't be a difficult thing to do. So we have to give it a name. And let's put it here next to the other radio menu stuff. Radio menu selected contact index. So selected index is the one that is sort of currently selected. And the contact index is the one that is set whenever the first stage of that is actually sort of accepted or dismissed. Let's make it a uint32 selected contact index, and this would be, let's see, use size. So we need to int cast that as well, like so, and then we need to register it. Selected contact index u32 can be initialized to 0. Right. So u32, selected contact index. So the mother should have one. I think it was follow me. We can see them here on the side. the mother has follow me. The scout vehicle has follow me and move here. The gripper has follow me, stay put, and move here. In that specific order. Follow me and move here. Was that the order? I don't remember anymore. Let's move that off to the side. Yes, and gripper has follow me, stay put, and move here. Okay, cool. Now, apart from those missing icons there, this is already kind of starting to feel like the proper experience. To enable this, you select the vehicle. Hey gripper, move here. And then it would say something like vaguely real-time strategy, like affirmative or something. Coming right along. Yeah, we should make sure that the index is set back to, like, if you exit out of that, then it actually doesn't reset the thing. Yeah. Anyway, this kind of works. I can see this kind of working from a gameplay perspective. I'll say window, set size 1080. There we go. Gripper, stay put. Yeah, selected contact, selected message. Still have those outputs there. Yeah, you can't open that up if you have the other menus open. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. Mother, follow me. Though I guess in the majority of cases they would just all have the same messages. Okay, nice. Nice. Let's do the in-game menu logic. So I'm gonna comment out some of these. Send message here, selected message, blah blah. That's where we want the actual message to be. Sent to the server. Let's make sure that we actually get the correct one. So maybe we can put in a function for that here on the. And we are actually already inside the function in the radio logic, so that's probably okay. So what we want to do is the contact is G. No, it's not G contacts. It's what is it? It's contacts. There we go. Contacts. Dot. No, not dot. Self-selected contact index. Get, and I guess we need to probably cast that into like that's self.contact is what I want. Is that that's an array list? So that would mean that it's actually like items, like so. There we go. And then we have self dot what was it? Highlighted index is that's the index that we're interested in. Okay. So basically, const contact index. Let's turn that into a usize. Int cast self. Select the contact index get. And then message index. Also usize is int cast self highlighted index get. And now we can get the message out of it. So that will make it self contacts items contact index messages slice message index. All right. I think that is how we actually want to get it out. So send message something. That needs to be a print f. Send message something to basically this. That would be message. And that would be like name str. And I don't think it actually wants the s there. And printing an enum. No get in usize. Selected contact index. Oh, that's actually just the usize. Huh. All right then. Yeah, here we just want to do this. Make sure that we reset the thing every time we or actually we probably want to set that to 0 when we show the radio menu, right? So let's do self radio logic radio menu visible selected. No, it's a highlighted index set 0, something like that. So every time we show it, set it back to 0 regardless of whatever it was previously. All right. So now if we exit and then go back, it's set back to mother. That's good. Okay, scout vehicle, move here. Send message, move here to scout vehicle. Cool. Follow me to mother vehicle. Move here to gripper vehicle. Stay put. Okay. Oof. Yeah. All right. I think this basically concludes our menu work. There's a little bit still left in my mockup that's actually not there. Like you can see here that in this second stage I wanted the title to show like radio and then like an arrow and then the actual receiver. We don't have that yet. Select someone, it just says radio. But other than that, I think this is pretty much exactly what I set out to do in my mockup. It just took forever and ever. But this should actually now be kind of easy to implement the actual sort of ordering around of these guys. At least that's what I'm hoping. And since this logic runs on both the client and the server, that means that if self, this doesn't actually know if it's running on the client or the server. Does it? Context on server. Yes, it does. This is where we can actually now send it. Right, like so. Yeah, we want to close the menu every time, but we want to send the message there. Which actually then probably makes the unit, your contact, react somehow and make the decision: am I going to actually be able to carry out this wish? And then respond somehow. It's like a message back to the player that yes sir, I will be right there, or alternatively no, I can't do that because you're sitting in a tree or something. Yeah. All right. That was a ridiculously complex piece of logic for a small menu, but okay. What can you do? All right, cool. I think we're pretty much done for now. This kind of concludes the whole menu work for this. I'm sure there's a little bit of stuff left to do here, but most of the things actually kind of work now. And this is now in a much better state than it was a few hours ago when I started, so that's always nice. Even though it was a bit sort of rambly in the beginning. But it's a pretty good place to take a break, look at what we have, and figure out how to do the next part. So, let's do that. Thanks to everyone who hanged around today. And I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good one. See you and bye.